I just got admission and I didn't really think, is this really the course I want to do? I just moved because I just got an opportunity. And once I got there, it hit me that, oh my God, this is not the studies I'm used to in Kenya. And it was something totally different. And it was so hard for me to even pass exams. So after 2 years, I was like, you know what? I'm either gonna stay in this school for like 6 or 7 years, or I'm just gonna decide to leave and go. Because the studies in Italy are not easy, really. I always tell people when you're moving here, be ready to like sit down and study, especially when you're coming from Africa, where our system is a bit different.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Okay, so today you know what's happening. We have a guest here and she's going to go ahead and introduce herself. So please kindly introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Tess, but on YouTube I'm known as Ashanti and Kikuyu. So I have content as well, sharing like opportunities to come to mostly Italy, but I'm also sharing about Germany. So I'm currently living in Germany. I'm from Kenya, but before moving here, I was like living and studying in Italy. So that's why I share most content about moving abroad. So mostly Italy and Germany as well. So yeah.
So I want to ask, what informed your decision to choose Italy, for your studies?
Okay. So the reason why I moved there initially actually was because my sister was there. So my sister was, I have an older sister. She's like an year ahead of me. So she was there before me. So immediately I also finished high school. She was like, she did the applications for me, and I was lucky enough to like get admission to two universities. And so, yeah, that was the reason why I actually moved to Italy, mainly because my sister was there and I knew somebody there. And yeah, it was easier for me because it was immediately after high school that I moved to Italy. So I basically didn't really know much about even applications to other countries or things like that. So it was because my sister was there. That was why
So
we moved there. But my sister also my auntie was also living in Italy. So she was the one who kind of like mainly told us about the opportunities with Italian universities. So my sister went before me, and then once I was finished my high school, then I moved and joined her. So we were both lucky to get like admission to the universities.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was actually in Polytechnic of Milan and Polytechnic of Torino. So I got like
Okay.
admission
Mhm.
to both universities. Yeah,
Okay, so which of them
yeah.
did you choose to study at?
So I chose Polytechnic of Torino because my sister was closer. Again, it was mostly the convenience. Just anyway, I would be convenient closer to my sister. That was what I chose. And then because also my sister's university was in Vercelli, but it was in like conjunction with Polytechnic of Torino by then. So it's like she was in Torino, but yeah, just in a different city closer. But yeah, that was why I chose Torino because it was closer to my sister.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah. It was just the convenience of things that made me choose Torino.
Serena, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And which year was that? When did you first come in?
Oof, that was like back in 2012.
Wow,
Yeah,
2012.
yeah, yeah. That was because immediately after high school, I moved to Italy. So I've been in Italy for a while.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I'm like the OGs of Italy.
Wow, that's good. That's so good.
Yeah.
I know you kind of like mentioned a bit about the fact that it was your auntie that told you about it, so you were not kind of like involved I'm not
Yeah.
not really like involved, but then she gave you all the information. But can you
Mm-hmm.
share with us a bit about the process, like, getting documentation, proof of
Yeah.
funds, all of that? And
Mm-hmm.
can you share a bit about your process from Kenya to Italy for your studies?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically I think the first things you have to do is like look at the universities in Italy. So there's usually like one website where most or like almost all the universities in Italy are there. It's like University Italy. You go check out all the courses they're having, and probably if you are coming from a different country, obviously Italian language you're not familiar with, so you're probably looking for like an English taught course. So you will find some universities that do offer certain courses in English. Most courses are in Italian, but some universities do offer courses in English. So you will look for those programs, and then you will apply directly to the universities. So usually applications start beginning of every year for most universities in Italy. So you do the pre-admission once the applications are open, and then from that you wait for the response from the university where whether they accept you or not. So they give you like a pre-admission letter if they do accept you, and then from that you move forward to the pre-enrollment process. And so during the pre-admission process, usually what you need are basically your diploma, a CV, an identification document, and probably a motivational letter. So they are in the original language, which is like English, is usually mostly accepted for like English taught programs. So yeah, you just apply with your original documents and then wait for the pre-enrollment. So now during the pre-enrollment process is where you kind of like have to look into doing your DOV. So the DOV, it's like an equivalent there, because the Italian universities need to know whether you did study for like 12 years, which is equivalent to the Italian educational system. So they ask you to get a DOV from the Italian embassy. So you kind of like have to certify these documents, translate them, and yeah, and then legalize these documents at the Italian embassy. Then with that, now you can proceed to like the visa process. So that's usually the process we follow, like for the Kenyan process. So I don't know if it's the same with other countries, but I'm pretty sure it's like similar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same for Ghana as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the same. Ghana, Nigeria is the same
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. It's not so complicated if you do know the process. If somebody guides you, it's pretty straightforward. It's not so complicated. But if you do not like have anyone guiding you, or you don't know how to go about it, then yeah, it can be a bit confusing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. Because finding information on like the processes and also how to
Mm-hmm.
study in Italy is really not something you find easy on the internet
It is.
and all of
It's
that.
true. You mostly find it's more of the Indian guys that do it, but they mostly do it in their languages. So, like for African students, there is barely nobody doing like detailed information about studying in Italy. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not really that complicated.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
I want us to talk about the proof of funds. Okay, your visa
Mm-hmm.
application, how you
Yeah.
get proof of funds. Because, like today, as at present, like so many students, they're able to get admission and all of that. But then when they
Mm-hmm.
just go for the visa, they just hit the wall like that. They are just refused visa because
Wow.
of probably their proof of funds,
Mm-hmm.
and accommodation and all of that. So, do you care to share on how
Yeah.
you were able to pass through regarding like getting your proof of funds and
Mm-hmm.
being able to get your
The
visa?
visa.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think proof of fund is something I also get asked questions a lot about. But I always tell people like so for the Kenyan so the Italian embassy in Kenya usually it's like it's not a must for you to present your account or your statement or your parents' own. It is actually possible to um, get a statement, a proof of funds from a friend or a family member, but then you have to kind of like provide an affidavit. In Kenya, we call it an affidavit. I don't know if it's the same thing for other countries. So it's like an affidavit from a lawyer where the person has to state here, I'm giving this person my bank statement to kind of like help the person with the finances or something. But that's just to help with the visa, to facilitate you getting the visa. So for the accommodation, also usually they also do accept like a hotel booking. So you can like reserve a hotel for the period you'll be like moving to Italy for like a period of time, and then print out. You don't have to pay. There's actually a way you can reserve a hotel on booking.com. Actually, it's very possible, and then you print that out and submit it as part of your proof of accommodation. So that's what I usually guide most Kenyan like students who are coming from Kenya to do, and usually it does work. Most of the time they barely deny like student
Yeah.
visas from Kenya. So yeah,
Yeah.
for Kenya
Yeah.
it does work. So it
Does
is
work.
possible to provide proof of funds from a relative or a friend or somebody if you do not have like enough money for yourself. And usually how they calculate it is so they calculate like 450 euro to 500 euro per month. So multiply that by like the 12 months. So that's like the minimum amount you need to have in like the bank statement that you're presenting. So
Okay.
if you have more, the better. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
the minimum should be like based on the calculation that they've given you for the year.
For the year. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So 450 to 500 euro. That's like the amount they calculate the expenses that will last you as a student in Italy for a
Yeah.
month.
For a month. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for a month, exactly.
I guess with okay, I guess with the Kenyan embassy is not really that stressful. But
I
Ghana,
think so, based on the stories I've had, especially from Nigeria and
Nigeria,
Ghana. Yeah, I think the Kenyan embassy is a little bit, I would say it's a little bit. Yeah, most of the time, if you just provide all what they need, like chances of you getting denied visa are very little.
very little.
Yeah, very little. So, yeah, you just have to kind of like provide all the documents you're having, and yeah, and that will be it. Right now, I think our time, we used to like present the documents to the embassy directly ourselves, but
Mm-hmm.
now I've heard they are using like some sort of
BFF.
agency. Yeah,
Yeah,
you go to
BFF.
that agency, you leave your documents, they go through all your documents. If there's anything missing, they will let you know. And then they are the ones who are handling your documents. So all they do is just call you once you have received your
Yes, it
visa.
is.
Yeah,
Um, that's true.
yeah,
Well, so I want to ask, regarding booking of flights because
yeah.
it's been a struggle here and there between the university and students and all of that. Are you particularly supposed to book like um your coming and returning? Are you supposed
Mm-hmm.
to reserve your flight also for returning? I don't know if
I
you get
think,
it.
yeah. I've also gotten a question about like a two-way
Return
ticket or
tickets.
something.
Yeah,
But I think for me, you just reserve a one-way because as a student, you don't know the exact date. Like you are going for like maybe a 3-year program or a 2-year program. You don't know when you are going and coming back. So for me, I think just a one-way. I think it was enough. I don't remember me
yeah.
booking like a two-way ticket. I think just a one-way will be pretty okay. Yeah, to just show your flight. Yeah, because I don't think it's a must for you to book a two-way unless it's different for some countries. But for Kenya, I think just one way is enough.
Yeah, because in the new requirements, they
Yeah.
like, it's you're supposed to also reserve a return ticket to back to your home
Wow.
country, even if you're
Really?
studying for 2 years or for 3 years, which is
That's new.
which is
That's new. I didn't know about that.
yeah. So
Wow.
I emailed the Ghanaian embassy a while ago, and then
Mm-hmm.
I was asking them regarding that because so many students were actually asking about that. What do I do with my return? Like, reserving my return ticket, or what dates do I choose? I don't know what date. I was like,
Wow.
I don't know too. I was like, I don't know too. So I
That's
emailed
really
them.
new. I didn't know about
True.
that really.
Yeah, I emailed them and then they were like, yeah, it's you even if you don't want to buy the flight ticket or you don't want
Mm-hmm.
to reserve it, then you can show through proof like funds that you can be able to
That you come
afford
back.
to come back to your home country. So I'm sure because so many people actually came and then they
And
didn't
then,
go back.
but
Or
do
I
you
don't
know,
know
yeah,
why.
for I Italy never had that thing of like you have to go and come back. I think it has always been more for other countries like the UK, but Italy was less concerned about that. So that's like really new to me. Like I never heard of things that oh you need to go and in Italy I've barely had that really. But yeah, most of the time laws change every time. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
been a
true.
while.
That's true.
Mm,
That's true.
yeah.
So many things are changing over the years, also based on like the experiences with students and all of that.
True. For that one I've had. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had even like with the experiences of many students now, it's like they are making things more and more difficult, which
Difficult,
is
yeah,
yeah, it's becoming complicated for students.
that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
Because in
But
Ghana
our time
currently,
things were pretty easy.
easy,
Really. There were no much complications really. Yeah.
because in Ghana currently, your proof of funds it should only be from a parent or
Mm-hmm.
from yourself or from someone that is living in Italy. These are the only ways. Your
Those
auntie
are the
in the
only ways.
UK, US, Canada cannot sponsor you. Your siblings, even in
Wow.
Ghana, cannot
They
sponsor you.
cannot.
They cannot. Unless
Oh,
you show them that that sibling is your legal guardian. You must show through proof.
wow. Oof.
It's
That's really complicated now. Because most people usually really don't have that amount of money in their account. Like most people are
yeah,
just, yeah, like you're a student, you just maybe probably just finished university or high school or something, and your parents too are probably struggling. And wow, that's really tough.
very, very, very tough. Very, very
Oh
tough.
my God.
I know, right?
Yeah, now I think they've made things more complicated more than before, really. And
Yeah,
it's such a pity because it's so hard for the students now. Because for me, I was always telling like Italy was one of the easiest countries you could just move to as a student, especially.
yeah,
Plus scholarship offers that they offer. It was like one of the easiest countries to move into in Europe. But
yeah. And then with
wow,
this, you know,
with all these new laws, yeah, it's making it hard for students now.
yes.
Yeah. For Kenya, I've
So
not really heard like they've changed yet, unless I will look into to the people who are coming in this year. But still, you can still provide proof of funds from someone who is not
someone,
your relative or your guardian. It is very
wow,
possible. Yeah, because
it's
I have like two students that I helped last year, and that was the same method they took, and
and
not
it went
they didn't have
through.
any issues. Yeah, it went through actually. Yeah, so I'll need to probably check with the students coming this year, know whether
Yeah,
Kenya too has changed. Yeah,
change a lot.
yeah.
So now let us talk about like your studies here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how was what first of all, what course did you choose?
Yeah. Okay,
Or
so initially when I moved to the Polytechnic, so it was more of an engineering course. But
okay,
then once I was there, for like 2 years. That's usually the story I always tell. Like I couldn't do it. First, like I don't know, part of it was that I just got admission and I didn't really think, is this really the course I want to do? I just moved because I just got an opportunity. And once I got there, it hit me that, oh my God, this is not the studies I'm used to in Kenya. And it was something totally different. And it was so hard for me to even pass the exams. So after 2 years, I was like, you know what? I'm either gonna stay in this school for like 6 or 7 years, or I'm just gonna decide to leave and go. Because the studies in Italy are not easy, really. I always tell people, when you're moving here, be ready to like sit down and study, especially when you're coming from Africa, where our system is a bit different. I don't know about Ghana, but in Kenya, it's like our education system is very different from what you are studying here in Europe or in Italy. So I always tell them, be ready, because it's a totally different educational system. So it was so hard for me, and I had to like transfer. So I decided to like transfer to another university in Italy. So I was looking for where to go to, and suddenly I did kind of like find a university with the course that I wanted. So that was University of Camerino. I moved to Camerino, and then there I went and did like a bachelor's in biotechnology, and then I finished and still continued there and did a master's. So I switched a little bit and did more of nutrition and functional food. So
Okay.
that was where I did both my bachelor's and master's after moving from the Polytechnic.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That's such an experience.
Yeah, it is. It is. Actually, I also do usually get questions about like the transfer process, because
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten quite a number of even students from Polytechnic of Milan, Torino. Those are not too easy universities, I would say. They are quite tough. So yeah, how to transfer from like, so the thing is, many people usually think you can just close your course and just move to another university. It's not, because if you close your course with the university in Italy, that means it's like you'll have to go back to your country and reapply again to come. So if you want to avoid that thing, it's like the best thing is to just transfer. So now the transfer process usually works like it has to be between the two universities. So you kind of like have to see the university you have to move to, and then contact them, see if they will accept you to transfer there. Because again, some universities too do not accept. So if they do accept you to transfer there, then you can be able to like now move your admission to like the other
Yeah, the
university, but
university.
just don't close your course with the university you are currently doing and you think you can just move, because still if you move to the other university they will start asking for your permit. Like still the residence permit is another thing, because they will still need to transfer your file to the other city you'll be moving to, still with the
Mm-hmm.
questura. So it's
Mm-hmm.
a process you need to like do carefully. Don't just
Careful.
close your course and move to another university. It will
Oh,
affect you one way or another.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you transfer, you go start at from the beginning again, or how
So
do they
the
do
thing
it?
is, yeah, like if you probably were in the other university, if you had passed some exams, yeah, and they can also be recognized in the other university, they will recognize them. But if the credits are not like if the courses are not related, and it's not enough for you to like move to the second year, so it's like you have to go and start from afresh from the other. Because like my own case, I was doing engineering and then I moved to do science, like from
Mm,
mathematics, physics to like biology. So it was the only, I think the luck I had done chemistry at the Polytechnic. They were able to accept it at at the at Camerino.
Camerino. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you had done some exams that can be accepted to the other university, they do recognize them. But
Right.
it's like if the courses are totally different, you still have to start from scratch. Like
That's
there are certain courses, if they were not the same in both, you have to
exactly.
like do the courses you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So when you came to, first of all, before you transferred in
Yeah.
Camerino, were
Mm-hmm.
you on any regional scholarship? And in this previous school, were you also on a regional scholarship? How did the
Yeah.
transfer affect that?
Oh yeah, that's another question that is very important. So yeah, I was actually on regional scholarship in Polytechnic, that is Edisu.
Mhm.
So my first year when I did like pass some exams, but I didn't reach the amount of credits that I was supposed to get to renew the scholarship for the second year. So I lost the scholarship. So another thing that usually happens is with the scholarship, yeah, once the year you get enrolled in an Italian university, they start counting from there. So
Okay.
if you probably move from the Polytechnic and move to another university, they will still count the years you did in the Polytechnic, even if you are going to start from the
The
first
beginning.
year in the other university.
Mhm.
So in my situation, I spent 2 years in Polytechnic, then moved towards my third year. So
Mhm.
still, for me, they are saying like 2 years you've lost. So if I'm to apply for scholarship, I'm supposed to apply as a third year.
Third year.
But then I do not have the credits to apply as a third year.
Yeah.
So what happened for me is that when I moved to Camerino, I couldn't apply for scholarship. So, because I had already a scholarship in the other university, and also my years could not like go hand in hand with the scholarship application. So, I did kind of like have to survive on my own for that period of like the bachelors. But then when I was able to complete and do my masters, then I was able to apply for the scholarship because that's a new enrollment.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But for the
Wow.
bachelor's in Camerino, I couldn't apply for the scholarship. That's another thing I also get from people. Once you enroll in Italy, your matriculation number, that's where they start counting your years from. So if you've wasted 2 years in a school and you want to transfer to another place, they will still consider the 2 years you did.
You
And
did.
don't think that you can cheat the system. I had a friend who did that and
Okay.
he was forced to pay back the money.
What?
Yeah, I don't think you would cheat them because one or another they'll get to know. I don't know how, somehow, because also universities in Italy, it's like if you had scholarship before you graduate, they usually like have to like confirm with the scholarship if they are allowing you to graduate as well. So they will
Okay.
have to go through your file and see if you had any issues with them, if you need to pay them back some amount of money or something. And if they find you have an issue, they will, can actually stop your graduation until you pay them back the money or something. So I have a friend who did that and he was forced to pay back money, and he had spent like, they had given him scholarship for like 2 years or something. And during like towards his third year, they got to know him and they asked him to pay back the money they had spent on him for those 2 years. So don't think you would cheat them. Yeah, they will know somehow.
Wow.
Yeah, it has happened to some people. So
So
it's just
what's
best, yeah, it's best
how
to
do you
be on the
pay
safe
all
side.
that money
They can actually give you like time to pay in like
in installments?
rate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
in installments. Yeah. But yeah,
Wow.
don't do that. If you are transparent, just know what you are doing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a complicated process, but it's doable. But
Yeah,
yeah, just be ready for like some consequences and
yes,
stuff. Yeah.
that's true. This
Yeah.
also is good you actually shared this because this also sheds light on the fact that you don't just grab the opportunity because there are some people because they've gotten the opportunity, even if it's a
Mm-hmm.
course that they don't really like, because they want to just japa, they'll just
They
put
want
it
to
in
just
there.
go. Yo, like for me, what I've learned here is that before you take any decision, yeah, like try and think how this thing is gonna affect you, because here it's like you're connected to so many things. You have scholarship, you have your residence permit. So if you just make one simple mistake like this, it affects everything.
Everything.
Yeah, so you transferring, it's gonna affect your residence permit, it's gonna affect your scholarship. So just do proper research before you just decide to just pack your bags and move. Yeah, do proper research. Because me, before I actually moved, it took me like that the whole of that second year. Once I decided I'm moving, I was just doing my research. I was looking to universities. I was like talking to people. So that was what helped me when I'm moving. I was doing things the right way. So
Mm,
yeah, but it is possible to do it, but you have to kind of like do it the right way. Otherwise, it's gonna affect everything.
everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.